Street. Please welcome Faye Tozer. Honestly, you look absolutely gorgeous. How are rehearsals going?
Oh, really good. It's quite a condensed situation. We've got 2 weeks to learn it, and then we have a week off, and then we go into Canterbury to start, have 2 days for tech, and we're on.
So 2 weeks to learn everything, the script, the routine,
the choreography,
and you're tap dancing for the first time since you were 17 or something.
How's that very exciting. So literally, when I was growing up, I did ballet, tap and modern, and I loved it. Tap was my favourite. Now I get to do it again, and it's so nice. We did a show of 42nd Street when I was about 12, and now I'm doing the real show.
Oh, that's really lovely.
You're getting on the touring bit, so I suppose that means you can see, because Ruthie Henschel, I was talking to her last week, so she's in it at the minute, and you can see. So does that make it easier to remember when you can actually see it in front of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in to do 2 show watches. So I did the first matinee. I literally got the train at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I need to see the show. What am I doing? And then went back a couple of days later after doing a few of the rehearsals. I'm like, right, exit, entrance, costume change. Right, got this. So yeah, it's kind of, we're all getting our heads down.
It's exciting. But in terms of being on the road, you're old hat at all that because you toured so much with steps, didn't you?
Yeah, and I love it. I get a chance to see my friends and my family, and I really enjoy regional theatres as well. I feel like the audiences in London, we're so international and multicultural, and it's like sometimes you get people coming in that don't understand what you're saying, and it can be a real mixed crowd, but regionally I feel like the joy is great,
What was a must-have thing for you to have on tour?
Oh,
something you couldn't do without?
So I have like my set suitcases. So I have a bathroom bag ready to go all the time, and makeup bag depending on what size suitcase I have. So it's literally go home, do the washing, put it back in and go. A must-have.
Something that makes you feel like home, because touring for me, it's like...
I've got my family photo that I put in my dressing room, and my fairy lights, because everything's a bit better with the fairy lights. Because you don't know what your dressing room's going to be like. You rock up and it can be breeze blocks. So it's like, oh, chuck some fairy lights.
And do you have to sort of, like, train physically for it as well? Because you have to be like an athlete when you're in a show that's just like on and on, isn't it?
I try and keep my fitness up in between jobs anyway, because I'm obviously, like steps, we do so much physically and singing, dancing at the same time. For me, this role is quite lovely because she's a bit of a mother hen. So my cardio doesn't have to be extreme on this one. And because it's a lovely role that's my age as well, it's a little bit more relaxed.
But then,
let the other kids do the work.
How is sort of being on the stage, have you been affected at all physically by perimenopause? Because I know that you're currently going through it. And Dame Kelly, when she's spoken about it in the past, she said physically it really affects her joints.
Yeah.
Have you found that that's affected you in terms of your training at all?
So this was really interesting. So I have had symptoms for a good sort of 3 years, but they all became very, very apparent sort of last December. And I had the fear of going back to work because of all of these things. Brain fog. Imagine going on stage and you just stop and you can't remember your lines. The physical things that happen to you as well. And, you know, getting into costumes and things like that. And the anxiety that I had. What was really interesting was I was getting butterflies and I couldn't really realise why. And I was having, like, physical shaking, like I would in an audition. You know, that sort of real quivering. And I was thinking, am I going to get back on stage again? Is this going to stop me? So it was really, really interesting. So many people through me, they said, go and read Davina McCall's Menopausing, which has been my absolute Bible. Everybody get it and reading it if you feel like you're going through these symptoms. And it gives you so much knowledge and power to figure out what you can do about it.
Because you were struggling to leave the house, almost like agoraphobia.
So, not agoraphobia, but I think that can be a symptom. But when I realised that something was actually wrong, because I'm usually a very outward-going person, happy to go out the house for any sort of reason, and I got physically nervous. And I literally had to stop Michael and Benjamin, and I was like, we were going around to Nana's for Sunday lunch, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself, and I just didn't feel myself. and I just had to sit down and take myself a few moments
So
to go,
it's
right,
such a common symptom.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
There's so many different symptoms. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and joint pain. So I was training, and my elbows were hurting, my shoulders were hurting, my knees were. And yes, we get pain from working out, but this was not the pain that I've had before. So.
And it's been a really difficult year for you, hasn't it? I mean, Mary, we were talking about Sarah Ferguson and her breast cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
And your mum went through that, and then unfortunately it returned as lung cancer, and she passed last year, didn't she?
Yeah, it's nearly been a year already. Yeah, so I'm going through all of the firsts that you do. Oh, let me go. All of the firsts that you go through, and it's a real void without Mum.
Yeah, sweetheart.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
It is. And also, I think because my mum was my biggest critic and my biggest fan, and she was the reason that I do shows or I'm in the business, and just not having her on the end of the phone.
It's quite a tough adjustment, isn't it?
It's a tough one.
Now, sorry,
I
have to ask about Steps as well.
Yes.
I mean, just like the biggest band in the world at one point. And yet, when you met your husband...
Yes.
Was he from Mars? Because he'd never heard of you. I read that he's never heard of you. I'm thinking, well, where is he
Also,
from?
he's a bloke, though. They don't tend to...
And he's a bit younger than me.
Oh, I see.
So no, when we met, so he did know of Steps. He wasn't a Steps fan, and still would admit to that. He's very proud of what we do and comes to every gig and all this sort of stuff when he can. But so when we met,
individually, probably didn't know.
Well, and also when I met him, I had big dark hair and I had full panto makeup on. And it was just not...
What's this?
I was in panto, actually. It was ringless after I'd done the show.
Right, okay.
I didn't explain that very well.
No. But then he absolutely fell in love with you.
So it was literally... when I met him, I phoned Zania, my best mate, and went, oh, my God, I've just met my husband. He was like, yes, psycho. Then I chucked him with the baby, and it's all good.
Yeah, and you've got lovely Benjamin.
So is Steps going out on the road? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, we can honestly chat to you forever because you're just so wonderful, and we're really looking forward to seeing you in the stage show. I think you'll be brilliant.
Oh, my God, yeah. So 42nd Street, 42ndstreettour.com, you can find all the dates.
Or we will have details on the Loose Ball website. Don't you worry about that.
Come and see.
Guys, Faye Tozer. Right, so it's a camera debate that's divided the panel. Who's nicer, dog owners or cat owners? Faye, quick, dog. Oh, we go. And when it comes to volume, it is the louder, the better. Brenda says yes, the louder the better. Good, actually.